The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
It's time for our predictions for the Royal Rumble. But of course, there has to be news. Hey guys, welcome to this newest episode of Thoughts on Wrestling. My name is Paul Pascrillo. And with me as always, I have
the Prince of Pepperoni, the King of Pizzas, yours truly, Tony Leitner.
So the plan tonight was supposed to just be talking about the Royal Rumble, what we think is going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And, just stroll on through a podcast and be done. Well, I guess the WWE had some different plans for us today at, I want to say 6, 7 o'clock this morning, because out of nowhere, we get two pieces of news. One, me and Tony really like, and one me and Tony don't so much like. So let's just get the good news out of the way. Good news. The Rock now owns another company. Not really. He doesn't own another company, but he's the 13th member on the board for TKO, which obviously, as we all know, runs both UFC and WWE. So that will make him have a say in both companies. And he gets to have the rights to The Rock. So, hi, Rock. I guess you're the head of the table now, aren't you?
So, do we acknowledge the People's Champion now?
I mean, he's Roman's boss, technically.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, The Rock is now officially part of WWE in an administrative role, basically, and UFC obviously as well. So that's really, really interesting. Like there were rumors that might happen. There were, people talking on social media as usual, being like, "Oh yeah, that would be great if The Rock became like a board member or, was in charge of WWE or whatever." Well, I guess you got your wish, guys, because, yeah, The Rock is going to be able to have his say on the WWE. What's your thoughts on that, Tony?
Well, I'm curious. Does that mean we're going to see less of The Rock in Hollywood and more? Is he going to be around more in the WWE now?
I would say, I to answer that question, I would say yes. I think you're probably going to see a less of a role of The Rock being in, Dwayne Johnson. We'll just use his normal name, Dwayne Johnson. You're probably not going to see him as much in movies. It's The Rock. You're going to see him in some movies. But I think at least it looks like, and I think you can agree with me, it looks like The Rock is basically trying to just invest in companies that he knows, number one, will make him money, and number two, makes sense. He has the UFL that he's a co-owner of. He has, he's now a board member for TKO. And, obviously he has his own production company, and, he has his own, I could go on. There's Drink Line. There's, his own T-shirts basically he has coming out, and other menswear that he has. So, does The Rock at the end of the day really need to do anything more? The dude's almost a billionaire at this point. No, he doesn't. So I would say, yeah, I don't think we're going to see him in very many movies going forward.
I mean, if that means we're going to get maybe some more sporadic appearances, then that's completely fine with me. I mean, you and I grew up with that Attitude Era, basically. And so we watched The Rock go from Rocky Maivia, a blue chipper showing up at Madison Square Garden, to the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising people's champ, And to see him go from that to Hollywood, come back a little bit here and there, back in Hollywood. Now he may be returning full time, depending like what his role on the board of directors is and everything. So it's definitely going to be interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does as far as part of being board of directors. See where the storyline goes with Roman wanting to sit at the head of the table. So that'll be interesting, especially with Saturday and everything. But with good news, there's always a little bit of a black cloud here and there, and we also did get a little bit of bad news to counteract our good. And it's going to be a nice subscription that you can't share with anyone because they're greedy. That's good old Netflix getting the rights next year to Monday Night Raw. What do you think about that?
You sure you want me to talk about this?
Do it.
All right. Well, yeah. Fuck Netflix. So let me give you guys a little backstory. For those of you that don't listen to the Toonami Faithful podcast, I don't like Netflix because they're these little evil gremlins that, using what's called debt notes, are able to get a bunch of money and go throw it at things. So, for example, if insert anime was wanted by Adult Swim / Toonami, and Netflix wanted said anime, they would do like some network studios would do in the back in the day, and just throw a bunch of money on it and take it because, well, they want it. I'm not a fan of Netflix. Let's put it that way. I'm not a big fan of the fact that I'm going to have to pay $6.99 because my ass is not going to spend over that to buy a Netflix subscription. I don't care about ads, to be honest with you. I grew up with ads every single time that I was watching TV, so it's nothing new to me. And by the way, just like I predicted, Netflix had to get commercials. So, I knew those fucks were going to have to get it. It makes me laugh every day when they're like, oh no, we're never going to get commercials. Dude, you need to pay for your service. Shut the fuck up and get commercials. Sorry, I'm going on a bitching spree. But anyways, back to wrestling. So this is a good deal for the WWE. Again, I know I'm not alone in this because I see social media and everybody's like, oh, fuck, another subscription. And yes, like you said, Tony, you can't share the fucking subscription. And what else? Raw may not be on Monday, which is going to piss me off, if they try to do that, which I hope they don't, because I think that would hurt Raw as well. I mean, let's be honest. If it's going to be on Netflix, it's going to be live, recorded, put up on Netflix, and you could watch it at any point on Netflix. So if it's recorded on Monday, why can't somebody watch it on Tuesday or right after Raw comes off? Honestly, I mean, I don't think moving it off on Monday is a good idea. I guess that's still something that's up in the air, but man, I just, as the kids say, I don't know if I can co-sign that. I would not be very happy with that. Because if you notice at the announcement, it says WWE
kids.
Raw.
The fuck? The kids say what now? I can't co-sign that?
Yes.
What fucking kids say that? What is this, like a weird lingo change or something?
Oh yeah.
Last I knew, kids are saying yeet and bat and cap. Like I was just catching up with that.
Well, welcome to the new age of stupidity.
Oh, great! They just keep getting dumber and dumber.
But to just kind of put a bow on this and finish what I wanted to say, I'm happy for WWE because they got a huge bag of money, which probably pissed off Tony. We always have to bring Tony into this at some point. And, you know, it's 10 years at $5 billion. I mean, that's what? If you do the math, that's what? 500. That's 500. Let's see. So if you do the math, and I'm not mathing right now, so that's 5 billion. So what? That's 500 million every year. Or is that, no, my math might be off on that. It's 10:40 at night and I have to work early in the morning. So I'm not going to math this the right way, but I mean, that's
a
a
lot of money for a lot of years. Let's just say what it is. Cause you know what? We're too stupid to be doing this at night. It's too late to be doing math. You don't do math after 7:00. It's a rule.
That's true. So, yeah, I mean, great for the WWE, great for WWE Raw, not so great for the rest of us that want to just watch it on TV, but it is what it is. So, I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to end up having to get a fucking Netflix subscription. I'm not ready for that. Maybe in a year I will be, but fuck. I don't know, Tony. I don't really want to give Netflix my money.
Well, you know what? Tough shit. Papa H knows what he's doing. But let's transition into the final blow-off episode of Monday Night Raw then, with the Royal Rumble coming up this Saturday, not Sunday, like some people on Monday Night Raw like to proclaim that they're going to win it on Sunday. Did you notice as soon as he said that, the graphic for the Royal Rumble went up and said Saturday? They like emphasized it, and then Michael Cole was emphasizing it, the fact too. He's like, Saturday. The Rumble's on Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday.
No, I actually didn't notice that. For some odd reason, I didn't notice that. I don't know.
Oh, I got quite the chuckle out of that. I was like, oh, that's great. That's going to be on Botchamania for sure. Just because the IWC loves watching a good screw up live on television, and you know, because people aren't human, wrestlers aren't human. They're supposed to be robots that know everything and can't have a moment of a slip up.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, it's funny you say that because, speaking of commentator being replaced, I think I guess for me, it's another good piece of news because I hate him on commentary, but Kevin Patrick is getting removed from the SmackDown commentary team. And I'll be honest with you, I can't be any happier. Like, oh my God, that dude.
He just didn't have that it factor for the voice. Like he didn't compliment Corey Graves well at all.
Oh no, not at all.
Who do you think's gonna replace him?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they let's see. Booker T's down at NXT, so they're not going to use him. They could, but I don't see that happening. Well, I mean, you could really piss piss off Corey Graves and bring back what's his name on commentary?
Who, Mauro Ranallo?
No, Pat
Pat McAfee?
Pat McAfee.
Yo, I mean, you know, why not? Pat's college football season's over. That would be something.
He's apparently not doing that anymore either. So I mean, he has no excuse but to come back.
I mean, he's got his kid, but you want who I would like to see? I'd like to see them bring back JBL.
No, I don't want him back. I mean, him being there like every once in a while is fine, but as like the permanent, I'm good. But that'll be interesting because that's supposed to take place after the Royal Rumble. What else? So as far as Raw goes, I mean, you agreed with me, Tony. I mean, we really don't need to go too far into this Raw because it was kind of a snooze fest, but basically we had a couple matches that were good. I mean, if you want to call it a match, that first match between the New Day and Imperium was really good, actually. And then, you know, there were a couple other matches and, you know, a couple other face-offs, and you're kind of like, The face-off between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, I mean, I think, so how do I put this? I kind of felt like because the crowd wasn't into it like they should have been, it kind of threw me off. But I thought it was still a good, like, promo. It just, because the crowd wasn't as into it as I expected them to be, it just threw it off for me. So there's that.
You know what I think killed the crowd a little bit was the Dusty Rhodes comment. Because how many times do we have to hear about Dusty? Don't get me wrong now. Hold on. Don't get me wrong. There's no disrespect being thrown at the man because he is a legend. I'm just saying, how many times are we going to be brought is the fact that Cody's Dusty's dad, that Dusty was a mentor to people, that Dusty was the father of NXT. Like, how many times are we gonna like get this brought up? You know what I mean? Like, it can only be brought up so many times while we're beating this dead horse. And I feel like when the crowd hears about it, they're just kind of like, oh, another story about Dusty. That's kind of killing the story. Like, what's the finish of the story? Like, Dusty's son wins the championship. He wins it for Dusty and the family. Like, I feel like if that's gonna be the story, then the fans are gonna shit on that story eventually.
I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that it was that so much. I think it was more because they were kind of expecting CM Punk to be CM Punk and just go in on Cody, and he didn't. And I think that's what really killed it. I don't think it was him talking about Dusty. It was him being nice to Cody Rhodes, basically. And that kind of killed it. But again, it was still a good promo. It just, the crowd, just because it was out of it, kind of screwed with me on like being like, oh, this was a really good promo. It was. It just, the crowd was shit. So let's see what else. The other match that was pretty good. Well, there was two other matches that were pretty good. I would say Chad Gable versus one of the Viking Warriors there. I can't think of his name. I think, it's Ibar. Yes. I think that match was really good until the ending. And then the ending was just, it's like, can we please stop with these stupid things where somebody shows up and distracts somebody and that's how this person wins. It's like you had something good going. Stop fucking it up. By the way, I kind of think that Triple H wasn't at this Raw because maybe that's why it was off, because it just kind of felt that way.
And with all like the goofy shit ending the way like a lot of like you said with the interference and everything, like the distractions, it kind of felt like it had some of Vince's hands in the works. Maybe he was like there instead.
Oh no. We would have definitely heard if Vince was there. I don't think it had anything to do with Vince. Let's put it this way, Tony. If you wouldn't know if Vince was number one, you would know if Vince was there because all these dirt sheets and everybody on social media would know about it already. We didn't hear anything about it.
Not necessarily there, but maybe like someone who was closer to Vince had more of an impact on the writing when like something he would do almost, you know what I mean? Maybe someone who like Vince was one of Vince's guys, maybe he was left in charge for the night. So his ideas kind of acclimated from that.
I'm trying to figure out who the
maybe
other
it's
person.
Fucking Bruce.
You know what? That's who I thought it was actually. I thought it was that's exactly who I was thinking about. Maybe Bruce was running Raw.
Or you wanna know who it could be? The weird fucking endings. Doot. Coming up, Doot himself. Selling out the Superdome when I was just a baby. Doot. Good old Michael P.S. Hayes.
You need to go to the corner. I'm just telling you right now.
Doot.
Anyways, so moving on from that, and then the last match of the night was Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, and that match was actually really good. Again, you have what's his name interfering in the match, and you're just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, R-Truth is funny, and I get it, but I don't want people interfering in these matches, even if it is funny, because it's just like, you got something good going. Get to the finish, make it look good. I'm satisfied. Like, and by the way, there's a way to do interference and still have a good match. That match with Seth Rollins and the Maharaja there, that was a good way to have interference and for it to work. Well, this last Raw, not really how it should have turned out, but that's fine. I mean, again, it could have been better, and it probably should have been better leading into the Rumble, but you know what? They had a lot of shit going on, as we talked about here earlier on the podcast. So if Triple H wasn't there and that's why it was shit, I'm fine with it. We all know that the Raw after Rumble is probably going to be really solid, so I'm looking forward to that. One thing that we forgot about too was Seth Rollins came on at the top of the show. He's injured, and I guess he can't wrestle at the moment. But the really weird part, and which makes my head hurt, is what the fuck is going on with his title? Like, is he keeping the title? Are you just gonna do a Roman Reigns and just let him be out for months? Or are you gonna, like, actually do something with this? Because it's like, I understand he's injured. I get it. I understand that this might only be a short-term thing where he's only out for 4 to 6 weeks. Great. But meantime, now you have a title yet again sitting out there doing nothing, when all that people want to see is these titles defended. And I'm just he's got to give up the title. Just have him give up the title. This isn't like a 1 week thing where he's coming back from injury. Just have him give up the title, and he has to win it back at some point, and then he can go into WrestleMania with his title after he wins it. Like, it's that simple. we don't have to overcomplicate this, and they did. So I'm sure you got thoughts on that too, Tony, if you want to go ahead.
I mean, I absolutely was surprised. I thought that he was going to announce that he was relinquishing the championship. And then when Imperium came out, I was just kind of trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, so are they going to beat him down and then out comes Damian Priest? That didn't happen. It was like a respectable, back and forth, which I really enjoyed. But like you said, like so I'm assuming he's keeping the championship, but it kind of bothers me, like, if he's not going to be able to defend the belt, it's just going to feel like another Roman Reigns situation where we're just waiting until the right time at WrestleMania to like drop the championship. And I don't think that's the way to go. Now, maybe with this news, maybe, CM Punk wins the Rumble. Maybe he goes after Roman now instead. And then, and something happened. I feel like something's going to have to happen now at the Rumble. You know what I mean? Like, something's going to have to, like, because honestly, what I would have done is I would have said, hey, listen, we're just going to have to put the championship on someone, for the time being, and we'll see. We'll revisit this in a few weeks, see exactly where you are. Then make the Royal Rumble now for the World Heavyweight Championship. And say you have someone win the Rumble, you have like a Drew McIntyre win the Rumble. Then you have Drew McIntyre win the Rumble, Damian Priest cash in. Now you have a storyline going into that. Or CM Punk wins the Rumble, he's the world champion. Now you have an even better storyline. I never lost that championship. Seth Rollins comes back before WrestleMania to challenge CM Punk for it. So now you have the man who never lost the championship versus the man who is the champion. Now, you have that huge WrestleMania moment. Or maybe you have, Randy win the championship and Cody Rhodes now win the Rumble. Now, is he going to finish his story? Is his legacy going to finish? Now you have a legacy feud. There's so much now that can happen, especially that needs to happen. Like you said, personally, I love Seth Rollins, but if you can't defend the championship, for the respect and for the love and sake of the fans, we need someone who's going to be on TV on a regular basis. They can defend the championship. That's going to do that. Like what Seth had been doing up until this point. Like, injuries happen, which sucks, but we need someone who's going to be able to constantly be in and out of the ring as champion. Hopefully we get what we deserve. So what would you have done in that situation?
I mean, again, we really don't know. Like, see, they were very vague about it. So it's like, we know. So here's the thing. So we know that they always put this false number out there of how long somebody's injured to kind of throw people off. The reality of I think Seth said 3 to 4 months, if I remember correctly. And I'm sitting here going, no, this is more of a 4 to 6 week thing. So, yeah, about that. So if it's really just going to be 4 to 6 weeks, I'm okay with it. It doesn't rub me the right way, but I'm okay with it because you've allowed Roman Reigns to do it for so long. And we all know that we all know that Seth Rollins doesn't want to, do that. But if it's going to be longer, if it's going to go past WrestleMania, yeah, then that title needs to be pulled off of Rollins, and there needs to be a tournament to crown the new champion. That's just what needs to happen. And it also really depends on these contract statuses too, because apparently Cody Rhodes, for example, hasn't signed his extension. Drew McIntyre hasn't signed a new contract. What was one that I saw today? Finn Balor, his contract at some point this year is up. He hasn't signed, they haven't actually asked him, according to that news article today. There was somebody else too that's coming up. I think Sheamus is the other person that's coming up.
I think Seth is coming up. Seth and Becky, I think, are coming up soon too.
Yes. So it's Seth and Becky too. They're supposed to be sometime during the summer. So again, I mean, there's all this up here. And while, yes, I understand, you got to kind of get this all figured out, because if you don't, it kind of drives these storylines into the wrong direction, because you can't put a title on somebody and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, now this person is leaving, so I don't know. I understand, and I'm willing to give them a little leeway, but at the same time, they need to pull that title off of him. If it's going to be something that he's not going to be going into WrestleMania with. So let's finally get into what our predictions are for the Royal Rumble. And to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed, Tony, and I'm sure you are as well. There's only 4 matches for the Royal Rumble. Now, that could change. That could definitely change between now and Saturday, but there's only 4 matches. And those 4 matches are the Women's Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble, the Fatal 4-Way for the Universal... I'm sorry. Let me say this the right way. The undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which is Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton.
No. Hold on. If you really want to do it right, you have to address the people of our podcast and explain to them that, ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday, 3 challengers go to the island of relevancy to challenge for the right to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion and fight Roman Reigns. Yours, mine, and ours, the Tribal Chief. Acknowledging intensifies. Okay.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about The Rock and acknowledging him because he's now the head of the table. Anyways, so there's that match, and then there's also the USA Championship match between Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. I think we can kind of just get right into it. We could probably talk about that match first. Honestly, as much as I want Kevin Owens to win this match because it makes more sense, I think Logan Paul somehow is going to pull this out. And obviously I don't like that because that means that there's just a title sitting out there doing nothing. But at the same time, I can see what they're trying to do. And, you know, there's been this idea floated out there, and I think you and me agree about this, Tony, that it's going to probably be LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the title at some point. So, I mean, I won't be angry if Kevin Owens loses, but if it's going to be something stupid where like Logan Paul brings out brass knuckles and does something, like I'm going to be very annoyed about that. So that's my prediction for that match. What do you think is going to happen there, Tony?
I think that's probably going to be, honestly, that's going to be the match that steals the show on Saturday, aside from obviously the Rumble and everything. But I feel like that match is going to be one of those matches that sets the tone for the night, because you have a workhorse in Kevin Owens and you have a absolute animal in the ring in Logan Paul, who I have to say, when he first joined the WWE, I was completely against it. I did not like the idea of him in the WWE, but he has shown absolutely nothing but incredible matches. I would love to see Kevin Owens win the United States Championship, but like you said, something tells me that we're going to get Logan Paul versus LA Knight at WrestleMania at some point for the United States Championship, because I feel like they want to make sure that LA Knight stays hot and relevant, and Logan Paul would be a good opponent for him because they're both good on the mic. They're both big megastars. Yeah. But I think in the end, Logan Paul is going to win. But like you said, I hope that it's not with shenanigans involved. I hope it's not some stupid, dirty finish. I would like to see, a good, clean finish. And I think that's what we'll get. I think we're going to get a match where back and forth, Logan Paul is going to pull out one. But I wouldn't be against seeing Kevin Owens become the United States champion, though, either. So that's something I'm looking forward to. That match, like I said, is going to be the one that steals the show and that sets the precedent for the rest of the night heading forward. What do you think about the Fatal 4-Way? I'd like to know your thoughts about that going into it. Who do you got? How do you think it's going to end? What kind of shenanigans? Because a Roman Reigns match isn't a Roman Reigns match without the shenanigans.
So I think one of two things is going to happen here. One, this is going to end the way that all these other matches have ended, where Roman Reigns is fighting these other three dudes, and then Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso are going to come out, and shenanigans, like you said, and, he's going to pull this win out somehow. It might be one of those things where Roman, and this is another thought, is Roman may just, he gets thrown out of the ring at some point and he acts like he's hurt or whatever and stays out there. And then the minute when everybody's like injured, he comes back in and does his thing and wins the match, kind of thing. The other thing, which is something that could be the curveball, and, because Triple H is there, Triple H likes to sometimes throw curveballs, which is great. I could see Randy Orton beating Roman Reigns. And then, obviously, this would lead up to WrestleMania, because obviously we've heard that Roman Reigns is not going to be here for the next two pay-per-views. So to me, that would make sense, especially if The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to go at it at WrestleMania, because you don't need a title for that. But I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I honestly think it's going to go where he wins somehow, either by cheating or being deceptive in a way that makes it, like all of a sudden, oh, everybody's injured, everybody's down. Now Roman Reigns comes back in the ring, takes care of all four of them, and pins one of them, and boom, he wins, kind of thing. So,
you want to know what I would love to see, honestly?
What's that?
Is Rock come out during the match at some point, and Solo comes to interfere, but Rock is there, and he kind of hesitates, and then he kind of just like fades to the back, like doesn't approach the ring, doesn't follow through with what Roman tells him, because technically, to Solo, The Rock is an elder,
Mm-hmm.
and the elder sent Solo to protect Rock, or to protect Roman in the tribal chief status. Correct? Is
Yep.
that what the storyline was that Solo said? So why not have it be that The Rock's out there and he won't defy The Rock? So now Roman has to do it on his own a little bit, because eventually the bloodline's gonna crumble, and we're gonna see that. But the thing is how is it gonna crumble? I'm interested in how it crumbles, and I think at the Royal Rumble is when the cracks completely start to like break everything apart, because eventually we're gonna see Solo on his own, and I think that's gonna be after WrestleMania. But I think now is when he's going to fully start to come into his own post getting ready post Roman. We're gonna see this, and I also think that when Jimmy goes to help and interfere, we're gonna see Jay somehow appear. Because it's the Royal Rumble, and those two are definitely. They should actually. Sorry, now that they are, we don't know, but those two should definitely come face to face in the Rumble at some point. And let's begin that blow off feud to WrestleMania where they face each other, because we all know that is one that definitely needs to happen, especially after our boy Jimmy Screw Jay went back into the bloodline after super kicking Roman and being the first one to get out of the bloodline. So that just made no sense after last year. So I'm curious to see how this goes. So me personally, though, I would love to see Randy Orton become a 15-time world champion, to get one step closer to be coming in a three-way tie with John Cena and Ric Flair. And honestly, he should be the one to break the record. He should be the one to get 17, because that man is a workhorse. He has never left. And the only reason he was gone was because of injury. In that year and a half, who knows? We could have gotten a different world champion. He could have been the world heavyweight champion instead of Seth, if that was the case. But I think AJ Styles and LA Knight are going to cost each other the championship. I think that feud's going to keep going a little bit into Elimination Chamber. Like I said, I think Randy Orton would be great to have as champion, because then you can have that feud between him and Cody, and have Cody's story finish against Randy. And then that way you get, not only you can get that, but maybe we can get a heel Randy Orton, or even better yet, maybe a heel Cody.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that having The Rock show up would be great. I mean, it makes sense now for him to show up at the Royal Rumble. So yeah, that would be great, because that would be the reason why Randy Orton would probably lose. I could see The Rock like beating Jimmy's ass because Jimmy won't listen to him, but Solo will, because he is an elder. Also, technically, he's head of the table now. I'm just gonna keep saying this during the podcast, but yeah, I mean, that would definitely be awesome, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we're several days away here from it, this Saturday coming up, so we'll definitely see how this Fatal 4-Way goes. I think the next thing that we'll talk about is the Women's Royal Rumble. Obviously, we got Becky Lynch in there. We have Nia Jax is in there. A bunch of the other ladies are in there. Like Becky's going to be in there. I think they said Bianca Belair was going to be in there. So as far as who I think is going to come out on top, it's kind of hard, because I feel like that they're trying to lead towards, or they're kind of swerving us towards Nia Jax, and I think Nia Jax is going to last a long time in the Rumble. if not being the final four that's left in the ring towards the end there. But I also think I think it's going to be Becky because they want to set up Becky versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. So we'll see if that happens. I think that would be a great match. But as far as like surprises, I think we'll see Undertaker's wife is always in there, so I would love to see her again. I think we're definitely going to see Trish Stratus, probably Lita will be in there. And I'm mainly talking about surprises. I'm trying to think if there's going to be anything big, like any big person showing up. You know, it would be interesting because they keep talking about some of these other women's wrestlers out there that would show up. I don't want to say Sasha Banks. I really don't want to say Sasha Banks.
Then I'll say it. Then I'll say it because Sasha Banks still has not signed anywhere. I don't think she was gonna. I think she considered for a hot minute that AEW was the ticket, and then she realized that Tony Khan is a fucking loose cannon and a danger to society on Twitter and in the wrestling world because he's an idiot. And I think she realizes that if she goes back to Papa H and the Big E, that's the place that's going to take care of her. And I think that she knows this is where she's going to be the most successful and that she's going to get the most recognized. So, you know what? You don't want to say because I know you want to say, but you don't want to say just because you don't want to get your hopes up. But I'm saying it. I think Sasha Banks is going to be one of the surprise returns. And I think Michael Cole is going to nut himself to death because you know, as well as I know, he loves being able to say, "It's boss time." I think that Sasha Banks is going to be one of our surprises. But I'll let you the rest of your prediction on that. On the women's rumble, I'll jump back in on my predictions with that.
So looking up on Spotify, I mean, it looks like Sasha Banks' song is back up on there. Apparently, it was taken down before. So that's an interesting development. So I don't know if that means that she's coming back or not, but it is very interesting to see that theme is back up on Spotify if in fact it was taken down in the first place. So do I think Sasha Banks is coming back? I mean, Triple H already pulled one. What's the term? He pulled the wool over our eyes. Is that how it goes, Tony? I don't know, but
I do believe that is he pulled the wool over. Yeah, I think that is. But yeah, I think that most of our fans, or if any of our fans that we even have any, I think that they are smart enough to know what we're trying to get at on that level about what Triple H could do and how he could surprise us. But for my pick, you know what? I don't think it's gonna be Becky. I don't think it's gonna be someone from Raw. I think we're gonna get SmackDown as the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, and I think that it's gonna be Bayley. Bayley is my pick to win it because the tension that's going on in Damage Control right now, I think that is too great to ignore, especially having Bayley win the Royal Rumble. It would create so much more tension and stuff and heading into it. Plus, another reason I think that we won't get Becky as the winner of the Rumble is because where's the next pay-per-view? Or sorry, no, premium live event. Where does it happen to be? And what is it exactly? I believe it's the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Oh, that's true.
and that's in Australia.
Yes, it is.
And mommy is from Australia.
Yep.
So why not have Becky win the women's elimination chamber? She sets up herself a guaranteed shot at WrestleMania. And at that point, in that exact area, she is the hottest heel right then and there, because the second mommy's music hits and she comes out for Judgment Day or in just her own capacity, she's going to come out and they're going to go face to face. And I think that's how you send off that elimination chamber pay-per-view. I think that's how you end the show, because that would be absolutely hot as shit. Like, just like a banger of a way to like sell yourself for WrestleMania in that aspect of the women's match. But rewinding and shifting back to where we are coming up, I think Bayley winning the women's Royal Rumble is just a great idea, because, like I said, the storyline within Damage Control writes itself, because you can tell they're plotting to turn against her. You know, and Dakota Kai, I feel, is going to be the one that's going to have to initiate it. And what better way than to have the old, maybe not even the old Bayley, but just a kick-ass Bayley come after Damage Control? Because you want to know who would be great to help Bayley take out Damage Control once they turn on her? And if she's returning, Sasha Banks. The very first women tag team champions in WWE. Have them go against Io Sky and what's her name? Io, Kyrie, and Asuka. You know, just
The Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah. It just, that entire thing is right there, ready to write itself. All Triple H has to do is to say, okay, Tony, you are a fucking genius. You are right. Come work for me. You know, like, Triple H, I accept. I accept the job. As far as surprises go, I would love to see like Trish and Lita return. I think that would be awesome. I think we might get Mickie James. I wouldn't mind seeing her return. I don't think we will be seeing Beth Phoenix, because I think now that Edge is associated with AEW, I don't think that she'll be in the WWE, like making any appearances in WWE. I think that the big surprise is going to be either or Sasha or AJ Lee. I think Mrs. CM Punk is going to come back. I think she'll be one of the big surprises. And I think now with people like Cora Jade and Charlotte Flair being out with injury, unfortunately, I think now spots are going to open up maybe for other people to come back, or maybe call-ups from NXT, like the very thick and luscious Nikita Lyons. She's beautiful. Love Nikita. Would love to see her on there. And speaking of NXT, I did see the returning Ava Raine is back. And also William Regal was back on TV tonight, which is nice to see. Shout out to William Regal, one of the greatest of all time. But for the women's, I think, we could get one of them. Maybe, and who knows, maybe Sable comes back. That's my wild card, is Sable. Sable is my wild card of who I think could come back. That's the one that is way out there and doesn't make any sense. So Sable is my pick on that one to come to be the wild card for the women's.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with all that. I think it'd be nice to see some dark horse people come in. Because it's so late at night, I forgot to say Mickey James, but I'd love to see her too. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to be there as well. I don't think it's going to be Bailey just because normally the winner of the Royal Rumble is not somebody that isn't talked about a lot. And, it doesn't feel like Bailey was talked a lot about being in the Rumble. It was more Becky and Nia, and I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, it was mostly Becky and Nia, and I feel like I'm missing somebody else that was talked about a lot. But yeah, I think it's going to be. I definitely think it's going to be Becky. It could be Nia. I don't think that's going to be. That would be a good choice, but who knows about that. Also, we're probably going to see Raquel Rodriguez back. I would expect to see her. I'd also expect to see Liv Morgan back. I think this is the time to bring her back. She's been gone for a while, and obviously these wrestlers need to take vacation, and it would be nice to see her back in the mix as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if she returns too. I would love to see CM Punk's wife back. But
You want to know who else would be a good surprise? Alexa Bliss.
would Alexa be back? When did she have her kid? I'm trying to think.
I think she had her kid around end of October, early November.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because usually the turnaround time for women wrestlers is about a month or two. So you might be right on that one. I would not be surprised if you see Alexa Bliss show up, but again, I don't know. I mean, it might be too soon too. But I know she wants to return, and I know that she is probably working on that. So I wouldn't be surprised. But
And it doesn't have to be. Like a 50-minute go around. She can have a quick 10-minute spot in the match and then get eliminated. Then it's just like, okay, shit, she's coming back soon. Like,
yeah,
then she's back, like getting ready and stuff till like the few nights after WrestleMania or something like that.
yeah. I mean, I think I think we've talked enough about the women's Royal Rumble, but yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities there. As far as the men's go, I think it's going to be. I think it's honestly going to be CM Punk, just because, as I pointed out in the past on our one of our episodes, I think Cody's going to go into the Elimination Chamber and get a shot at the title after that, because obviously if you win the Elimination Chamber, you can face the champion. So I think that is going to happen instead of him winning the Royal Rumble. As far as surprises, it's interesting because, like, for example, you got Mr. Matt Cardona over here teasing that he's probably going to be in the Royal Rumble. You got Sean Spears teasing that he's going to be number 10 in the Royal Rumble. Those two gentlemen, I wouldn't be surprised if they show up.
I saw that he tweeted number 10. I was like, this motherfucker. I go, this fucking guy already telling us that he's coming back. What a tease. Like, he didn't do much in TNA for me. Or AEW, sorry.
Well, keep in mind, Tony, like, Tony Khan buries people sometimes, whether it be by accident or not. So, I'm not surprised that he didn't do anything because he doesn't know how to use wrestlers sometimes. So, I would not be surprised if he showed up. Trying to think if there's anybody out there that would, be a huge surprise to come into the Royal Rumble.
I know. I have a feeling we're gonna get a 24-inch python type surprise, brother.
No, I don't think that's happening. I mean, he teased it on Raw, but I don't.
I mean,
no.
Why not? Why not?
Hogan is at this point is broken, and that's why he hasn't really wrestled. I mean, if the dude could still go and do like a match, I would be fine with that. But no, I don't see Hogan coming back.
For a one-off, think about it this way. Think about it this way. It's 40 years of Hulkamania. Okay. Where's the Royal Rumble? Tampa.
Yeah.
Where does Hogan live? Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
So why not have a quick cheap pop surprise? Just to appease the people, the WWE universe, because you know what? Why not a quick fucking payday for the Hulkster? I think with that tease, we could get Hulk Hogan showing up in the Men's Royal Rumble. Even if it's just a one-off, because why not for 40 years of Hulkamania? Why not for the Royal Rumble?
I mean, maybe, but I'm not sold on that one. I'm trying to think who else is out there that could show up. I'm trying to think of who could be in the Royal Rumble that isn't there at the WWE right now. I think it'll be Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho's in hot water at this point. So, I could see Brock Lesnar showing back up, because apparently he's going to be there for WrestleMania season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up. I wouldn't be surprised, even though he probably. No, I mean, yeah, but X-Pac said that he's really not in any shape to go. So, maybe not. Who knows on that one? I actually wouldn't be. What's his name there? Well, Mr. He's been scissoring these days, but Mr. Ass, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE tried to bring him in for the Royal Rumble for one match to come in and stop
Daddy
scissoring.
Ass?
Yeah.
He's under contract with AEW. He's 1/3 of the trio's tag team champions.
Dude, WWE doesn't give a fuck. WWE doesn't give a fuck.
Tony Khan would lose his ever-loving shit over a fucking.
Well, right, but they would have had the discussion, obviously, to have him there. You know what I mean? Like, in those kinds of situations, obviously Tony Khan's going to want his cake and eat it too, kind of thing. So, I mean, he was already there once for the Hall of Fame. So, I mean,
yeah, that was 4 years ago, before Tony Khan became his own worst enemy with Twitter and everything.
I'm trying to think what else. God, I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that could show up. No, I don't think there's anybody else that could show up.
Big E.
You know what? Yeah. See, you got to stop reading my mind. I had him in my brain the other day about returning at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see him return. I think that would get a huge pop. Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I'm thinking at the moment. What about you, Tony?
Andrade.
Oh shit! Yeah, you know what?
Mr. Charlotte Flair.
Tony, see, this is why you're here, because, like I said, my brain is fried at this point. So, yes, him. I could 100% see him showing up and returning during the Royal Rumble.
I'd like to see not returning, but maybe making more of a debut or an appearance on the main roster, Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov. I would love to see Ilya Dragunov in the Royal Rumble. And you want to know who else I would like to see return? The Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I would love to see Sheamus return at the Royal Rumble. That'd be great. Let's just throw a dark horse out there. How about Big Papa Pump? Have him show up. Hey, they're on good terms again. Why not?
That would be
That would be interesting and funny at the same time.
have like him and Braun in the ring at the same time.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. Oh God, I'm trying to think of who else would be a good person to come in. Huh.
What about Bo Dallas?
Yeah, Bo Dallas would not be bad. Don't you mean Uncle Howdy?
No, I mean Bo.
Hmm.
Bo was one of my favorite wrestlers. Let me tell you, man. Back in the days of NXT, when Bo was our NXT champion, I was Bo leaving so hard. You wouldn't believe it.
Heath. What was his last name?
Heath Slater? He's got
Slater.
kids.
Yeah, and?
Remember, that was his slogan. I got kids.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of options, so that'll be interesting.
And you know what I would love to see if Heath Slater returned? Him, Jinder, and Drew all in the ring at the same time. Quick 3-man band reunion. And then, then just Drew turns and, like, kicks him in the face or something.
Yeah.
But that would be some 3MB reunion. You know the crowd. You know that Tampa crowd would go absolutely wild for a cheap pop for a 3-man band reunion.
Who do you think's gonna win the Royal Rumble?
My heart and my brain, for the most part, agree and say it's gonna be CM Punk. But you know what? I think it's gonna be The Rock. I think The Rock could just come back and fuck everyone over and just win the Rumble. Just because, I just feel like that's something that could happen. Like,
I really hope it doesn't.
I don't want it to happen, but I think it's one of those dark horse, I don't know where possibilities.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I could see them possibly doing that, but I hope they don't, because he's a member of the board now, so he can't really. I don't think he can really do that. I'm sure they want him to wrestle, so we're definitely going to get Roman versus The Rock at some point. But I think more like we talked about earlier, he's probably going to show up and fuck over Roman Reigns now, or he may just do that at WrestleMania, and then there's a match at SummerSlam. I could see either one of those happening, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I think with Triple H in charge, and I think we can both agree on this, and I think we could end on this note. Whatever's going to happen in these two Royal Rumble matches for the women and for the men, it's just going to be really interesting, and there's going to be some kind of huge pop that makes the night. So I'm excited to watch on Saturday. Tony's going to kick off anybody off of Peacock so I can make sure that I get to watch it. So
Nah, I don't want to be sitting here being told I can't watch my own fucking Peacock. I'll lose my shit again.
Well, as long as I get to see it as well, that's all that matters. Because,
well, if you can't, you can drive your happy ass on over to fucking my house and we can watch the Rumble, you, me, and the dog.
Oh, if that was only a possibility. Anyways. Yeah, so looking forward to the Royal Rumble, and I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see what happens with The Rock being on the board as well. not happy with Netflix deal, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think that's it for this episode. Just as a reminder, you can find us on pretty much most of the podcast apps out there. I haven't really expanded on this app because we haven't gotten a huge amount of views and anything yet. So once that happens, I'll expand it out a little bit more. But I mean, you can find us on pretty much all the main apps: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and then all those other podcast apps that go along with those. So if you're looking for a podcast, you're probably going to find it. And if you're a first-time listener, please listen back to the other episodes. We have 3 other episodes up as well. And again, you can find those. Our main hub is Spotify, so you can find all the episodes there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Tony, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on X or Twitter, whatever it's called, at 89_tones. I'm on Instagram. Well, me and Lou are on Instagram at Lou_Tony or something like that. You know, I have my dog on there. She's cute. She's my baby. So if you see a picture of a dog, it's probably me and her. But yeah, that and Twitter are the best places to find me. Or you can come by Wegmans and get a nice, delicious pizza. I'm always there.
Paul should get one for free.
Paul's a jabroni.
Tony, I will find you and I will kick your ass.
You must be able to see me.
You ain't John Cena.
But he's always here.
Uh-huh. And as always, you can find me on social media at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me, paulpascrillo@toonamifaithful.com if you have any questions. And, of course, you can listen to me on the Toonami Faithful podcast when I am on an episode. I was on a recent episode talking about Demon Slayer, so if you want to tune in for that one, please do. But, yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning into this podcast. And please do share this with your friends because we want more people to listen to this podcast. And so we can get more views, downloads, and whatnot. So, yeah. But that's it for this episode of Thoughts on Wrestling. And again, thanks for listening. Peace. We're out.